My name is Alina, and I am 45 years old. For 25 years, my family made every party a quiet vote on my value. Every birthday, every wedding, every quiet dinner in that big house on the hill, I was the shadow, the one who liked code more than talk, the one who dreamed in numbers while they raised glasses to champagne and family name. So when the speaker whispered through my desert home and 5 shapes appeared on the gate screen, I felt no anger, only a clear calm. I pressed the button, let the steel gates slide open, and walked barefoot across warm stone to the door, ready to direct their collapse with one line that would chill their bones. Tell me in the comments where you are reading this from, and if you have ever cut off a bad family line, hit that like and subscribe, because the ending will take your breath away. It was a hot Friday, the kind the Mojave saves for settling scores. I stood in my observatory, a glass ball hanging over the sand, in a white linen robe, studying a secret code plan for my huge money group, when the bell rang like liquid silver. Curved wall lit up with sharp pictures, and there they were. My brother Victor, 48, still wearing the crown they gave him. My mother Lydia, 71, holding her fancy bag like a holy book. My father Malcolm, 73, already shrinking inside. My sister-in-law Celeste, 46, whose pale smile had always cut me deepest. And my niece Harper, 22, a new member of their group. They came not in the black SUV of stories, but a 2017 Tahoe with tires almost gone. Victor's suit, once custom, now wrinkled like his future. Celeste hid behind glasses that cost more than their monthly bill. Lydia wore her church coat on a Friday, and Malcolm looked as if time had sped up 3 times. I watched them for 4 heartbeats, then let the robe fall, walked the quiet hallway, and opened the 15-foot dark wood door. The entrance light poured over them, and the first thing they saw was the moving light sculpture on the far wall, worth more than their whole town. They stopped, envy and shock fighting on every face. Celeste spoke first, her voice sharp. "Oh, Victor, this is ugly, a glass lump in the sand. It looks like a movie bad guy hideout." Lydia sniffed, checking my robe, my floating stairs, my very air with holy judgment. "So this is how you greet your mother after all these years." Victor tried to take the doorway. "We need to come in now, family business." His foot crossed the line, expecting me to step back like I used to. I put one hand on the wood and did not move. "I think you are mistaken. This is private land and I sent no invite." Malcolm's voice broke. "Alina, we are family." I laughed, a sound sharp like black glass. "Family, a strange word, father. The last time I heard it was Easter 2001. I was 20 holding a purple cake on your porch. Lydia said the table was full. Celeste felt uneasy about my strange data hobby." I looked at her. "You closed the door on my fingers, remember?" Lydia's face went white. Celeste's glasses slipped. Victor had no time for old stories. He pushed past me, the others rushed behind him like dirty water, and suddenly my safe place smelled of fear and cheap scent. Victor turned in the entrance, finger shaking. "Because you stole it, Alina. You took my right." The words burst out. I did not move. I just led them into the big room where glass melted into sky, pool, and stars. They looked wrong against the smooth chairs, the custom couch, the black calm. Celeste touched the woven art. "Ugly," she said. "She threw our money on trash." I crossed my arms. I offered no chairs. I offered no drinks. "My money, Celeste." Strong words from a woman whose online business died in 2018. Victor fell onto the couch, head in hands. "It's over." "Celeste, quiet." Lydia ran to him, rubbing shoulders, staring at me. "We will make her pay back." Malcolm pulled a folded paper from a cheap lawyer, shaking. "Alina, you gave us no choice. Grandpapa loved Victor. He was the first grandson." I smiled, let the quiet grow. "Grandpapa saw Victor as a proud bird in borrowed feathers, but go on," Lydia screamed. "Malcolm, do not let her disrespect." Victor pointed at the letter. "He left me 200,000 to lift the family name and you 10,000. A laugh. "You cashed it." I nodded. "I bought fast computers and fast internet with it. Best money I ever spent." Celeste grabbed the letter. "We hired a real lawyer. He found the Morrow Education Trust. 750,000 for doctor or lawyer at a top school. You left the road. The money plus growth goes back to the main will," Victor shouted. "And the main owner is me." Lydia waved at my walls. "This palace is built on stolen money. Victor needs 12 million Tuesday morning to save his company." "Sign the house over. We sell, we are even." Malcolm begged. "Just a house." I repeated the words, tasting poison. I let silence grow. They moved finger. Cracked arms crossed. Celeste laughed, mouth stuck. I offered water sparkling or flat. Confusion fell. Victor barked. What? I smiled. Do you want the truth about Grandpapa's will? Celeste sneered. We know the truth. I turned to my father. You should have told them, Father. His face turned gray. The paper you wave is fake. I was there when he wrote the real one. Alexa, show Morrow Trust Appendix C. The glass wall burned with law words 30 feet wide. They jumped back like bobbies from fire. I made one part big. Money may also be used by the owner for startup cash and quantum computers, blockchain systems. Dead quiet. Victor said quantum computing like a curse. Celeste whispered. I do not understand. I explained. Grandpapa put money in PayPal, Tesla early. He gave me startup money, not school money. I built Quasar Ledger in my dorm, sold to Microsoft 9 years later for $60 million. Lydia jumped. $60 million. Victor sank. Celeste gasped. I grew that 60 into a fund, now $1.2 billion in control. Your $12 million threat would not pay my water bill. Malcolm started crying. He made me promise. He showed both papers, the fake to trap Victor, the real to protect me from him. Lydia hit Malcolm. You knew. Victor grabbed his father. You let me chase a ghost. Celeste tried one last move. She has the money, force her to pay. I cut the noise. You still do not see Victor. You are here because my $15 billion Mojave Innovation Corridor needs your broken 8-acre hole right in the middle of Part 4. Alexa, show map sector 7 lot 882C. The wall showed a 3D future city glowing blue except one red spot. Victor whispered. That's my land. I buy all broken lands like yours quietly. Your lenders sell Tuesday. My fund pays the exact debt, not 1 penny more. We break your walls Wednesday, and on that grave I build the Grandpapa Morrow Quantum Academy, free classes in coding, secrets for every child of color within 200 miles. Victor fell to the floor empty. Lydia cried, witch. Celeste's eyes counted divorce. Malcolm cried, promise. Celeste pulled Victor. Stand, we leave. She dragged his body to the Tahoe. Engine coughed. Headlights showed rust and ruin. I opened the wood one last time. Cool plant smell filled the air. Hard lights showed every break. Father walked slow. Mother stared angry. Celeste pulled Victor like trash. I watched the red lights fade, then said the line that ended 25 years of exile. I guess space really is limited after all. The door closed with a soft air sound. I stood alone in sudden lightness. 25 years of being left out melted into the hum of computers and changing light. I was no longer the strange girl. I was the future they could not map, and I was finally free. I remember the first time they removed me. It was not 1 second, but a slow wearing away like wind on rock. I was 12, and the photo studio smelled of powder and fake smiles. The man kept moving the soft background. Lydia kept fixing Victor's collar. Harper was not born yet, Celeste not added to our family. Malcolm stood behind us all, his hand heavy on Victor's shoulder. I stood at the side, my arm cut off by the edge. Lydia saw, whispered to the man. He nodded, moved the stand a little, and when the pictures came, I was half a face, a shoulder, a hint that someone was once there. They hung the big photo over the fire for years. I looked at my missing self every Christmas, every Easter, every time I came home from boarding school, because Lydia decided early that smart was fine only if it wore nice shoes and talked the right way. I wore sneakers and talked in ones and zeros. They sent me to Andover because it sounded good, and because far away was easier than answers. I learned to code in the library after lights out. The screen light warmer than any fire. I learned to hide my sadness in commands and circles. By 16, I had made a number net that guessed stock changes better than college seniors. I mailed the results home on a small disk. Lydia used it to hold her drink. Malcolm never opened the letter. Victor laughed, said I was playing money games. The disk bent under a cold glass of tea. I kept the no from MIT because it was the only thing they ever put in a frame for me. College was another empty place. I picked Caltech because the heat felt like punishment, and the labs stayed open all night. I lived on energy drinks and light patterns. I slept in computer rooms when the dorms were too noisy. I built Quasar Ledger in a basement that smelled of metal and hope. The program learned faster than any person. It spoke chances into fast wires. I sold it to Microsoft the day I turned 29. The check had so many zeros I thought it was a joke. I bought the land in the Mojave because it was open, and because open is truthful. I hired builders who knew empty space. I hired workers who talked in tiny bits. The home grew like a clear pattern. Every wall smart, every breath clean, every light counted. I named the main ball the observatory because from the top I could see every star and every lie. The years in between were a silent fight. I sent cards to graduations, to openings, to the soft start of the first quantum lab. They came in pretty paper, thick and heavy. They never answered. I stopped sending. I stopped calling. I stopped wishing. The quiet turned hard like protection. I wore it like extra skin. I grew the fund from 60 million to 1.2 billion by helping kids who looked like me but were never called strange. I paid for girls in Oakland who made flying machines from junk. I paid for boys in Barstow who taught computers about sunstorms. I paid for a changing teen in Reno who wrote secret rules that made the government nervous. Every payment was a block in the wall between me and the past. Every gain was glue. I knew Victor was falling the way you know rain by the smell of metal. My programs marked his debts 18 months before he did. The interest was cruel. The promise was air. He was making fancy green homes in the path of my corridor, selling them as safe places for rich, awake people. The pictures were pretty. The ground was false. He saved money on steel. He paid inspectors with good whiskey. He promised no harm while pouring poison into water. My numbers said failure with 98 out of 100 certainty. I did not stop it. I just watched the numbers move. The day they came, I was fixing a new linked system. The job was secret. The buyer was many countries. The money would push the fund past 2 billion. I wore the linen robe because it let heat out. I wore no rings because metal messes with machines. The bell was not a break. It was a number I had already answered. I let them in because the math needed it. I let them shout because strong feelings are information. I let them warn because warnings break easy, and I had built my life on things that do not break. When Victor fell, I felt the floor through my bare feet. The stone was warm from hidden heat. It held me. I remembered the first time I felt stone underfoot. It was in the Caltech lower room, the night I learned sadness could be turned into code. I had been crying because Lydia sent a birthday card to whoever lives here. I had been crying because Victor put pictures from a blue island called Living the Dream. I stopped crying when the computer said no mistakes. The program ran smooth and quick, and it did not care that I was alone. Harper was the unknown card. She was 22 and had been given the family story like milk. She stood a little behind Celeste, holding a phone that cost more than her school term. Her eyes were big, not with want, but with the growing fear of a child learning the bedtime tale is a scary one. She had never met me, only seen the cut picture, only heard the talk of the odd ant in the sand who kept secrets. I saw the second the program read her body. Her heart beat fast. Her eyes grew wide. She was the only one whose fear was pure, not mixed with greed. I saved the numbers for later. When Malcolm told the truth, I felt the weight of 25 years move. The secret he held was heavier than any computer shelf. He had watched Grandpapa write both papers in the room that smelled of skin and strong drink. He had watched Grandpapa close the real trust in a cover marked for Alina only. He had watched Grandpapa hide the false one in the family book between songs and rules. He had promised quiet because Grandpapa said Victor would smell money like a dog smells fear. He had kept the promise because being afraid is easier than facing. He had kept the promise until the lie became his bones. Lydia's anger was like a mountain fire, but fires follow lines. She had built her whole self on Victor's light. When the light broke, she broke too. I watched her pull Malcolm's sleeve, watched her throw holy words like poison, watched her try to bring the golden boy back with pure mother power. It was sad, and it had to happen. I felt no sorry, only the cool joy of a guess proven right. Celeste's change was quick. The second Victor became a problem, she planned her way out. I saw it in the small face moves, the hard jaw, the quick look to the door. She had married the story for the good life. The Tahoe was rented. The glasses were old style. The online world had fallen under paid skin cream and no-pay workers. She needed 12 million the way a person underwater needs air. When the air was bad, she looked for a boat. I was not the boat. The map was the last step. The corridor covered 8,000 acres, a web of labs, green walls, tall farms, quantum machines. The red mark of Victor's mistake beat like a sick dot. I had bought every piece around it through hidden companies in far islands, through trusts inside trusts, through programs that offered money at 3:17 morning when people slept. The sale was set for Tuesday at 9 morning West time. The first offer would be exactly $12,472,811.43. The exact debt, not one tiny bit more. The hammer would fall. The paper would change. The machines would come by early Wednesday. The broken parts would be gone by Thursday. The base for the Quantum Academy would be set by Friday. I walked them to the door because habits matter. The wood turned with soft air push. The night air carried plant smell and far rain. The lights were hard. They made the Tahoe look like a broken thing. The rust, the torn seats, the bare tires, the bent side where Victor had hit a car helper. I watched Malcolm walk slow to the front seat, his shoulders bent like marks around a late secret. Lydia climbed in the back, her back straight with the last of her pride. Celeste fought Victor's heavy body into the back seat. His head fell against the glass, leaving wet and loss. Harper stopped at the door. She looked back at me, her eyes wet with something that could be knowing. I gave her nothing. She was not ready for the numbers. The Tahoe started with a rough sound like a sick throat. The front lights moved across the open space, lighting the moving art one last time. The light broke into 1,000 pieces of information, each piece a tomorrow they would never hold. The gates opened. The car moved. The back lights grew small, then gone into the dark. I stood in the door until the sand stopped moving, until the only sound was the soft wind and the tall plants, until the only light was the cold blue shine of the observatory above me. Inside the ball, I poured one small glass of Yamazaki 18, the same bottle Victor had used to pay an inspector. The drink was smooth and smoky, and it tasted like winning. I lifted the glass to the picture of Grandpapa, his eyes clear behind thin glasses, his smile wise. He had seen this second the way I see money waves before they rise. He had chosen the strange girl because strange is just another word for first. I drank to him. I drank to the 12-year-old whose face was cut from the picture. I drank to the 20-year-old who turned sadness into power. I drank to the 45-year-old who had just shut the door on 25 years of being left out with a line sharp enough to cut glass. The computers sounded low. The pictures moved. The art beat with new numbers. Every child who would enter the Quantum Academy, every line of code they would make, every tomorrow they would build on the dead place of Victor's want. I felt the weight go, not all at once, but in parts, like dirt washed by fast water. The pain in my shoulders, the tight in my chest, the low sound of not good enough. It all melted into the night. I was not the shadow anymore. I was the builder. I was the program. I was the tomorrow they had tried to remove, and I was finally free. This story is a sign that family is not fate, that family name is not given. It is built line by line, number by number. Winning is not the loudest person in the room. It is the soft sound of computers in the sand. It is the child who learns to code because someone said yes. It is the kingdom made on the broken parts of those who said you do not fit. If you have ever been the cut arm in the family picture, if you have ever been told your dreams were games, if you have ever made something pretty from the dust of their no, then lift your glass to the far line and know that the sand grows flowers for those who dare to put seeds in dry ground.